Hello there and welcome to track 11 of these Zoom sessions, I've been calling them, of my book The Self-Harming Pacifist, which is available everywhere as long as you go to Amazon. So this series of videos, I've been reading chapters from my book, and we're at the penultimate chapter for this first book. You'll be pleased to know the second book is currently in production. I've done the pre-production, we're in production, then there'll be post-production, and then there will be release. So I'm in the second part of the process. So track 11 is called My Truth. And we start with a quote. "You cannot learn by forgetting." That's a beautiful quote from the timeless classic film from 1986, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side. Over the course of my life, I have been to some seriously dark places. I've been deep in moments where the only way to freedom was suicide. I've spent nights so scared of the demons in my mind and the voices in my head that I could not find a safe place to be in my own home. I've sat through days so long they seem to stretch to eternity, as if time had been put on hold, and then I would watch with panic as the day would crawl into night. As the sun set, my fear would rise with the knowledge that I would have to face all those demons and whispers again. Mental illness is horrible. It drives thoughts and ideas into your head that make no sense in the light, but perfect sense in the dark. There was one night that I wandered around my partner's house completely lost. I chased from room to room because I couldn't understand where I was and I was unable to find her. She was in the next room and I couldn't see. I have bawled my life out to a dog who appeared to patiently listen and sat beside me, her inquisitive eyes looking at me with sadness. In my own home, I have questioned the existence of people and would believe that I made everyone up from my imagination. That has been one of the most frightening experiences. It was at a time when I was not working. I couldn't work. I had split from my wife, and my children would come and stay with me for a night, and the following morning I would take them to school. My partner would head off to work and I would return home to be alone for the day in the company of Netflix, music, books, and my own writing. Yet my brain could only focus on one thing, one painful question. Are the people who you said goodbye to earlier actually real? Once that seed was sown, it began to grow. The question would inflate like a balloon. Perhaps they were part of my imagination. After all, I'm a writer, an actor. I create stories and characters and have done so since as far back as I can remember. Why should they be real? What is real? My brain cannot tell between reality and imagination, so perhaps my children are in my mind. Perhaps my partner actually does not exist. After all, how can I prove that they do? I searched through my memories, but of course, I could be making those up. So I would wander each room, checking that things were there, seeing the unmade bed of the children as we hurried out of the door that morning, the plates for breakfast on the kitchen table. To combat this, I started to leave things lying around. If we played a game the night before, I would leave that intact as we left it, not to be touched for days. I would leave my partner's things where she left them, refusing to put them away in preparation for the struggle to come. I then took a book and I asked my children to write in it. I didn't tell them what to write, but I needed some proof that they were real. I took photos on my phone of stupid stuff like them eating at the table or sitting on the sofa watching television. I left their pyjamas on the bed until well into the following week. That one question was driving me mad, and my mind made it real. And it still happens. It's still there. But I now don't give it the power that it had over me. This was around 2013 and my children were both at primary school. Now they're older and we have better forms of communication. I was so convinced sometimes that I made up all these people in my life that I felt like I was going insane. Instead of watching a movie or relaxing and trying to get better, I would try to piece together all the fragments of memory from the last 12 hours or so and retrace the steps taken. You would find me pacing from room to room, trying to make the memories solid. My time off work was not making me better, it was making me worse. Our minds are powerful instruments, beautiful but deadly. It is amazing in one sense that we can create a world which we feel we can believe in, yet at the same time it is immensely scary that we can create a world we feel we can believe in. Here's a list of things that helped me through those days. BBC Radio 6 Music, a wonderful lifeline of great music and wonderful presenters. It helped get my creative juices flowing again. Netflix, I would watch movies from the 80s, an uplifting decade. The Wii, I would play tennis and sports, trying to keep moving and try to take my mind off the reality I'd created. Walks, even if it was just to the shops or to the local library. Having jobs to do, like washing, cleaning, anything to get me going. Earphones in and hoovering was a lifesaver. I discovered Muse and listened to their music every day. My partner's eyes. My children's laughter. Nature. Sometimes just listening to birds and watching them go from tree to tree is a wonderful thing. Writing returned to become a thing for me, and I chose to take the path I used to take when my good buddy and I would create stories on cassettes back in the 80s. We would draw up a story, create storyboards for certain scenes, make a movie poster and a coming soon poster, and then armed with a cassette recorder, a C90 tape and a record player for background music and our collection of soundtracks, we would perform the story and mostly make it up on the spot. Back then it was for our own entertainment, as there was not a resource to release stories on cassette to a wider audience. The difference now was that I could get the stories out there myself, be my own publishing house. It was during those very dark days that I put out the book, The Sublime Maisie Canon. I made a trailer for YouTube and published the story on Amazon. I wrote other stories, but have kept them locked away. Maisie was a character I liked, and I felt comfortable sharing her story. She is a strong woman who chases zombies in a hot air balloon and shooting them with a catapult. I put her out there, and she is the only piece of work that I've shared from that dark period of my life. It's not easy to turn it around. Perhaps you don't. Those extreme feelings are still there, and sometimes, when my guard is down, that question hovers just out of reach. Now I am stronger and have more belief in myself that I can push it aside and get on with my day. Studying mindfulness and practicing meditation has rewarded me with a deeper understanding of my emotions and a more balanced view of the dark thoughts. I have learned that I need the dark and the light if I want to be me. It is important to not dwell too much on the bad stuff and instead live for today. Everyone has angry, sad or violent thoughts. It does not make you a bad person. Acting on them makes you the villain of your story, not thinking of them. I could still walk around the house now and wonder if my children are real. They stay now far less than they did, but I see them more often. My imagination could take that avenue if I chose to, but I ask myself, what is the point of that? Instead, I focus when they are next going to be here and what we are going to do. I have accepted that my emotions are mine and I choose to act or not on them. I am in control. This depression is no longer in control of me. I have combated many of my demons by regaining focus. And my journey to that started when I attended a workshop at the insistence of my partner called Super Genius with Ryan Pinnock. Super Genius is a concept designed for you to achieve your greatness by tapping into your genius. You do this through a form of meditation and discover your real worth. It is accessing your imagination to create and achieve your goals. It works. I was blown away by it, and it made perfect sense to someone like me who only focused on the bad stuff. I began to let that go. I wanted to follow my dreams, and I knew that I had it in me to create something special. From there, I moved to meditation and then to mindfulness, and I now no longer need antidepressants or CBT. I'm finally at an accepting peace with myself. I still have depression. I still have days where I want to stop and stay in bed. I still have thoughts of harm and suicide. But now I know what they are. They are thoughts, and tomorrow they could be gone. I let them go. And that takes away some of their power. Give yourself some time. If you want to lie on your bed, do it without guilt. Guilt is one of our worst enemies. Just try to get rid of it and be kind to yourself. I would not be here were it not for my partner. She has saved me on many occasions over the years. She has taught me many lessons. And now I'm in the privileged position of being strong enough emotionally and mentally to also help her and guide her, aid her, and give her confidence. The knowledge that I can do that and that I can help my children has refocused my energies away from self-destructing and towards finding solutions. I know that there is no cure for depression, but I believe that you can learn to live with it. For me, it is about maintaining a focus and removing any guilt. Keep moving forward. And don't worry about the journey. Emotions are emotions. They are good, even when they are bad. Live for today.